I always like to review new and exciting things, and this is new and exciting. It's pretty exciting. It's not quite new. I've had it 2 or 3 months, but then again, now I've had time to use it and to give a really in-depth review. Okay, it's not gonna be a really in-depth review. I'm just gonna kind of talk about what I like about it. But first, my overall reaction, because that's all people care about, and they complain and give you thumbs down if you drabble on and on. Drabble? Is that a word? I will give my analysis right now. The end. I'll get to the ending and then we'll go back to the beginning, and you can watch the rest if you want. But you gotta subscribe or thumbs up. Is that a deal? It's not a deal. You're not doing that, are you? It's all right. I probably wouldn't either. I might. So my overall feeling on the Garmin 945, I would say it's probably overkill for most people. I would think, for me, I didn't really need this much of a watch. I got it because, actually it was paid for. So not by Garmin, by a company I work for. They kind of pay for fitness things up to a certain point. So because I could go the full distance, I decided, is that a good running pun? I decided to go ahead and just get to max it out, so that's why I got this watch. But unless you need the music and unless you need the Google Pay, you probably don't need the 945. It's kind of overkill. That's what I think. It's a little overkill. So Garmin does have the 645, which has the heartbeat in case you do need that. I kind of like that. And it does have the other series too. And there's a 935, which is a little cheaper, so you kind of have to ballpark what you want to pay for. I would say the 945 for most people, unless someone else is paying for it, then you probably don't need that much of a watch. It's like so expensive now. So that's my recommendation. That it's good. I would recommend getting a Garmin, but probably not this one because it's just too much. Okay, now I've talked about the review, kind of the analysis, my summary, so I can go back and just ramble on and nobody can give me a thumbs down, I hope. But I'm gonna just, again, I'm saying this right now, I'm just gonna blabber on and on. So you got the answer ahead of time. Let's just go ahead and just ramble for a while. A little bit of history. I actually used the Garmin, I don't even know the numbers anymore. It might have been 245, might have been something, but this was back in 2009, and I got it used, in fact, and it was a lot bigger. You had to plug it into a little pad and then plug it in the computer. It was kind of a pain, so there's no wireless going on. I didn't like that a lot, but it worked well for the most part, but in a while it became hard to connect, and I lost interest. And by that time, the phones were getting so advanced, I just went with my phone, iPhone for years, and then Google Pixel for a while. I didn't really need a running watch. Now, something else to state is that I don't really use the watch 24/7. I only use it for running. All it is for me in the world is a running watch. I run with it. I don't want to, and this is supposed to do triathlons too, but I don't do triathlons. And if I did, I'd probably use a watch if it's waterproof and everything. But nah, I just use it for running. I don't want to wear a watch when I sleep. I don't want to wear a watch any other time of the day. I don't like wearing a watch. So for me, I don't need a 24-hour watch. And that's something to consider. If you did want a 24-hour watch, then you're probably better off with an iWatch or something like that. That's really catered for that kind of thing, and they have all these extra apps and stuff like that. For me, I didn't need all that. So if you do want a 24/7 watch, then you probably don't want something like this, even though you could wear it, and it has all these programs to track you 24/7, but it's kind of bulky and it doesn't really function well as, I guess it has kind of a watch. It doesn't even do the simulated analog display. At least I don't think it does. Maybe it does, and I haven't figured it out yet. But let's talk about this watch, this particular watch. And it also could fit like the 645 and the 935 as well. But for the 945, the fit, it's pretty good. It kind of, to me, it's either kind of a little snug or a little loose, but it seems like as you're first going, it might be snug and then it loosens up a little bit. Maybe it's you lose weight, I don't know. But it's okay. It's just, again, I don't want to wear it 24/7, so I wouldn't like having it on my hand. I'm just not used to wearing a watch too, but I feel like, I don't know, maybe I should loosen it. Okay, I loosened it, but now it actually feels the same. Maybe I didn't even loosen it. I can't tell. I also want to make sure it's snug enough for the heartbeat monitor to work, so it's hard to tell. Now, getting into the reasons I didn't really recommend it, about the Google Pay or Smart Pay, whatever it's called, I just don't see for myself, I don't see myself ever using something like that. I've never really come across a situation, even when I carried my phone, where I needed to pay for something where I could, because I don't really carry cash with me when I run. But I also, I don't see situations where I just walk into a store and pay for something. If I'm running, I'm usually pretty sweaty and sometimes shirtless, so I have no place being in a nice supermarket or a store. So I don't really find I need ever to use a Smart Pay. And I'm gonna say something, I still carry a phone when I run. I use that for the music, I use that for everything. If I want to check my messages or like see what's on Facebook, I get distracted easy, I'll be honest. So I do carry the phone. So I know it's like, what's the point of having a smart play in 2 places? And I guess that comes into the second reason. Yeah, I have the music on my phone and that's already going to my headphones. So I don't really need that as much either. Again, it does play music. You could set up Spotify or things like that, but to me, it just seems like such a pain to go through all that when it's already being done on my phone, so I'll just carry both. The times I wouldn't have my phone are if I'm really going for a short run for speed, where just every ounce counts, so I want to get rid of extra things. I wouldn't carry my phone. Then it's kind of nice just to carry this, so I'd be running really lightly, but again, I wouldn't be stopping for to pay for anything or to pick up a Pepsi or anything like that. I would just be running for speed. Now with the 645 and I think the 935 and the 945, it does measure your heart rate. Now supposedly the ones on the chest do work a little better. I've used those before, but sometimes it is a pain wearing the strap. Such a kid. Okay. Yeah, so I also don't want to wear the strap when I'm running shirtless too, because it's gonna leave a funny tan line. It looks kind of funny. So I kind of like having a watch. If the watch can do a good job, then fine. But does it do a good job? I've heard different reports about it, but I don't know because I'm not comparing it. There's no control or variant. I mean, it's whatever it tells me. So I'm assuming it's doing a fine job. I just can't tell. And to be honest, again, I don't really care that much. So you got to decide that when you're getting these watches. Do you really need a heart rate monitor at all? Or get this cheaper one? Yeah. So it's probably working okay. My heart feels okay, I guess. I checked it. It does a nice job of syncing up to your online account, your phone account. So you can kind of come home after a run and just pull up a page and just kind of see how your heart rate did, see how your anaerobic respiration or aerobic respiration. It does all that with, I think, a different colored light. Again, I don't get too in depth in these things. I just need it to tell me how fast I'm going or how far I ran and where I'm at. So I should mention, it does do maps and things like that. Never really use them. I already know where I'm at almost all of the time. So to me, having a map really isn't that important. But I guess it does. And again, I got the phone for that, so I'm not really following it. So I didn't really need that, even though it throws it in, but I think the other versions throw it in too. Okay, another thing to cover is it does have a light that automatically will go on when it's dark, or getting darker, dusk. And you just kind of pull your hand up and you're kind of seeing the light, and you put it down and the light goes off. So that's kind of cool. Sometimes it's a little off when it does it, but it's kind of, it'll stay on a few seconds. So it's good that you don't have to, turn on and off a light. I should mention the buttons. Now, Garmin doesn't do for at least this series, it doesn't do touchscreen. So there's no touchscreen, even though it's like the 21st century, come on. I think there's reasons for it, I guess, is that they can make it thinner or don't have to deal with the energy it takes to do that kind of stuff. But also, they go back to these old, there's push buttons. They're nice because they're tactile. You can definitely know when you're hitting a button. So they work pretty well. I guess the problem with also these touch screens is you get sweaty and it's hard to use and you're running, and it's just, sometimes it is easier to go by feel. So you can just feel it, you don't even have to look at it. The downside is that it can be kind of a hassle, kind of pushing a button and then having 2 other buttons to go up and down. And so there's only like, well, there's 5 buttons, but you mainly use one main button to starting things and then up and down button for kind of scrolling through things. So it can take a while to scroll through all the menus. So it would be kind of cool. It would be cool to have both options, but they don't do it that way. So that's kind of something, if you think you need a touch screen, you gotta look somewhere else, but they do use the buttons. And for the most part, I just use it to start a run and then just stop a run. Now the screens are pretty cool, at least I think you can change them, but I haven't really done that. It just doesn't really have all of what I want. It has like things on different screens that I kind of want, but there's not one screen where it has everything kind of together. I want my heart rate on a screen, my current pace on the screen, how far I've run on a screen, how far I mean, I just can't fit it, but I kind of want everything on one screen, and I don't really seem to have that option. All right, I think I covered everything. And again, I did my recommendation in the beginning that the 935, 45 is overkill unless you really need the Google Pay and some of those things. You can research those extra things and see, do I really need them? Otherwise, just get the cheaper one. Now, I ran 7 years without having a running watch at all. I just used the phone. So For a lot of people, the phone, if you're carrying it anyway, it does a pretty good job. You got Runkeeper, you got the Nike app, you got Strava, you got a lot of options that you can use, a lot of free options you can use. So you got to think about, you might just be fine with that. But for me, I wanted something where I can get a better idea of my pace and time. It helps me to just be able to glance down and see how fast I'm going. And sometimes if I'm slowing down, I can kind of think, I got to go a little faster. So that's what I actually mainly use it for. All the other stuff, the heart rate, it's cool, but I don't really need it. The anaerobic, I don't even understand all that stuff yet. So it's like, or the oxygen or whatever it is, I don't even understand it. So I don't really need all that. I don't really have to have. I did fine without the watch, but I kind of like having it. It does help you run faster. At least it helped me run faster when I'm able to kind of look down and see the time and how I'm going at that second. Because otherwise, my phone just chimes in on every mile or something, 2 miles, I think what I set it to. So yeah, having that instant. Oh, now it's like lighting up every time I turn my wrist. Oh, cool. Having that is a pretty cool feature. So, those are things to consider. I would say get a Garmin. I think the Garmin is a very highly rated brand, and they've been working on this a long time, so they're very good at what they do. But maybe not get such a fancy watch as this one. I just got it because someone else paid for it.